Hey, I'm Pat B.
And I'm Adam Willis.
And I'm just Johnny.
And this is the Geek Down on WEMF Radio.
Leaping forward bionically.
Wow. Actually got Adam in with you. Johnny, you are letting me down. What's going on, man? Look, sir. We're okay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Geek Down here on WEMF. I am Pat B. To give my man a break here because he came with the sickness tonight. You, my man, went to, what was it, Lisbon?
Went to Lisbon and a couple of other areas in Portugal, yeah.
All right. Went to various areas where he became patient zero. Yep. Came back to spread the germ to us, so thank you very much.
Right? I'd rather have what I have right now than what my brother had.
I don't know what your brother
Let's not
had.
talk about that.
You're in close proximity. His brother had, like, super rickets. I don't know how you get that.
7 hours vomiting and pooping on a flight.
I said we don't need to go there. But
Thank you. Yeah, thanks for the extra detail.
Well, it's a nice little hill.
Okay. Well, okay, so this is Schadenfreude then? You're like, at least I'm not this guy.
Seriously.
Okay, you come clean, man. You spiked his meal, didn't you?
Perhaps.
I feel like y'all were having a good last night. Dude, I love you, bro. I love you too, man. And you gave him like y'all were like
drink the water,
tequila.
It's fine.
Yeah, he gave him like the worm, like in what was it, Poltergeist?
Poltergeist 2.
Yeah, just like,
actually.
Sat there and like swigged it, and then he's just like hocking up.
Man, that scene messed me up because in Poltergeist 2, he drinks the worm out the tequila and except the eyeball on the bottom of it, and then he like literally hacks up a skeleton.
Yeah,
right.
And it was just you see the freaking thing in this like
coming
ill-ass loogie.
You're like, oh man, that guy's Coach.
Yeah, like 3 times the size of his body and just like disgusting. Yeah, then you get to laugh at him and Dauber and the shenanigans.
Just trading jokes. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Man, right there, you heard talking about those disgusting hijinks. It's none other than Black Adam Willis.
Hey man, how's it going?
Hey man, you know I'm doing okay. You know what? I situated myself between you and the disease on the side here. Because,
I appreciate that. I didn't know what the deal was, but yeah, it put me as far away from the sickness. I don't need any more, But it is weird being on the right side here. I have to, change my whole body.
Take it in, man. I know it's a powerful feeling.
I think I can manage.
You can survey all from the corner.
I can get through it. I'm adaptable. I can look to the left as well as I can look to the right.
That's right, ladies. Both ways. All right.
It's not just a political statement.
I'm not touching that one.
Oh, yeah.
We're glad we have you around because we have an awesome, action-packed, fun-filled show for you. We have reviews out the waz, but man, you got to see you were never really here.
Yes. I'm excited about that one.
Cool. I also got to see a couple of Schwazi tidbits,
including Super Troopers 2. Which I didn't get to see, but I'm excited for because anytime that we can pick on Vermont cops, where I'm from, you got to do it. So
wait, were the Vermont cops really like were they really the targets though?
I think so. I mean, it takes place in Vermont. It's takes place was the Spurberry,
and
I grew up right next to St. Johnsbury, and we kind of associated with that kind of being like.
Well, okay, then you tell me as the hometown hero there, is that a source of pride or a source of shame?
Being from that area of Vermont?
Well, no, I mean having something situated in a place that kind of sounded like where y'all were.
Oh man, we loved it. Yeah, it was fun. It's good. It's satire, you know what I mean? You can poke fun at cops no matter where you're from. I think it's universal.
Okay, all right. I will say because being from Boston, nothing makes you feel worse than seeing Daniel Stern and Dan Aykroyd playing like the just
Celtic pride you're talking.
Yeah, just the
unless he's narrating something, I don't want to see Daniel Stern kind of do the whole towny thing.
I don't know. I thought he did okay. He did okay in that Workaholics show, and then subsequently the Workaholics Cats movie.
Oh right.
Yeah, that's Daniel Stern.
Yeah,
old ass, chubby ass Daniel Stern.
He was funny in that new movie.
Yeah, no, I like.
That's the only thing funny in that movie, I think. But
Adam biting. Just
game over, man. Or
yeah, I thought that was hilarious.
All right, we're on opposite ends with that one, but
the dumbest of dumb fun. Okay, all right. Well, also on top of that, we're gonna turn it over to Just Johnny, who revisited a classic. I won't call it a classic. It's like 2 years, but we're taking another trip down memory lane with Shadow Tactics Blade. Oh, continue. Go ahead. You leaned in like you gonna lead it. I'm talking about Blade.
I was being at the ready. I was readying the blade.
Yes, dude, super intimidating right there. I buy you as the Shaolin ready to wreak havoc.
That's right. Practicing my ninja skills, shuriken at the ready.
All right, properly. What's the full title? It's your review.
Shadow Tactics, Blade of the Shogun.
Thank you. Okay. You are never making my military. It's like, we are the commando
Stone has to do his
of,
your obituary.
Yeah.
Patras was.
Yeah, it was some kind of guy. He did things, I'll tell you. Boy, he was
former KRS-One fan.
He was alive once.
You liked
It's
KRS-One at one point. Yeah.
Oh, it's true. So many bad memories. Yeah. All right, but no, this intro's gone on long enough. I was fighting to say we're going to wrap up with Lost in Space. Netflix brings back to you that story that so many people have clamored for over the years since that Oscar-winning.
You didn't know you wanted it, and then when you thought you did, it might not be.
Oh, you ever feel shame and sadness all at once?
All the time. Yeah.
All right, so Lost in Space. Netflix takes another stab at the classic 1960s TV show, which I watched a lot of.
You did, yeah. You were telling me that, which I didn't watch it. All I knew about the original Lost in Space was Danger Will Robinson.
Danger Will Robinson. Danger.
And then, of course, the movie in, 96?
Garbage, yeah.
Yeah, we'll get into that. We'll get into all that.
Well, the movie starred William Hurt, Matt LeBlanc.
Matt LeBlanc at the height of Friends fame, doing movies. He did that movie and the pitching baseball movie with the monkey. Man, he was.
Wait. What was this now?
Ed? What, something?
Wasn't Ed the one about the guy in the reality show? Before reality show?
That's Ed TV.
Ed
with
TV.
Matthew McConaughey.
Wasn't Ed then the one with Whoopi Goldberg?
Can you look this up?
Coaching the
Matt
New York
LeBlanc
Knicks?
did a movie where he played baseball and he had a chimp.
And it was called Ed.
Yeah, I think it.
And
I think
did not star Whoopi Goldberg.
No, that was the T-Rex movie.
No, that was jeez. So Eddie, that's what I'm thinking of.
Eddie was the basketball where she owned the Knicks.
TV, yeah.
Dude,
that is a bad track record.
Yeah, man.
All right, well, no, this is very different because Lost in Space starred also Gary Oldman in the sucker. Before we realized how great Gary Oldman really was.
Yeah, he was doing that, and he was doing the bad guy on Air Force One. Around this time.
I thought this was around the professional time.
It might have been. That was all junk. It was all when he was his drinking days, which is my favorite Gary Oldman.
Léonce de Professionnel. He was using his real voice in there, wasn't he?
He might have been.
Yeah.
I heard it. He said he changes his accent so many times he doesn't even know what it actually sounds like.
I feel like if we go back to him in why am I blanking on the name? Bram Stoker's Dracula.
Dracula, yeah.
Yeah, that's how Gary Oldman really speaks.
I don't just mean too, I guess. Yeah.
I don't just mean inflection. I mean, and that's that tone.
Yeah, he actually he drank so much. I was reading Slash's autobiography, and he's a prominent figure in part of it because he's like
Slash of Aerosmith and Gary Oldman, the bestest of friends.
Right, exactly. And you can imagine just the debauchery that was going on there. Read the book if you're interested.
Dude, you know what? I actually might, man. I kind of want to know
I'll
what
let
kind
you
of
borrow
shenanigans
it. It's wild, yeah. It's wild.
Kind of chicanery they pulled off. What kind of 1-2 combo team up is that?
You wouldn't think it. All of a sudden, you're like, oh, that's just Slash and Gary Oldman. This ain't gonna be too
right
bad.
There,
it's like they go in the bathroom for like 4 hours.
Turner and Hooch, Laurel and Hardy, Slash and Gary Oldman.
I want that TV show, man.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. All right, you know what? You got the top hat and Commissioner Gordon. What corner? All right, we have gotten so far off topic, dude.
Right,
we actually had a loss, man. We want to talk about real quick.
Yep.
Well, we got a couple minutes.
We got a couple, yeah.
Vern Troyer is an actor that we've all come to know and love as a character he was never really able to escape from in life.
Yeah. That's Mini-Me, of course, from the Austin Powers movies.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what he came on and became famous for. Obviously, he starred in another Mike Myers movie, the Love Guru. He was the hockey coach.
Yeah.
And then I remember him actually from Pauly Shore's Dead too. He played Pauly Shore's neighbor.
Oh, I never got around to seeing that. I did not. Now, did he play his neighbor in real life? Like he was his neighbor?
That's a good question. Maybe, but it's they had that one scene and Pauly's coming around the corner like really fast in his car and it almost hits him and he's like, who takes a big? Pauly Shore asks him, who takes a bigger crap, you or the dog? He's like, it depends on who's seen Biodome last, which is a really good line. But that's kind of what I think about. But yeah, he was not a great actor, but he was perfect in for what they needed to use him for. You know what I mean? Sometimes for laughs, just looking at him, which is kind of what
a lot of people played him for like the same kind of like the same realm as like a wee man from Jackass. Anytime you need anytime you need a short guy to do a stunt. That's where Vern Troyer came in.
Well, he did those movies, but he also became known just for like hanging out with somebody. He was like hanging out with like Tommy Lee from Motley Crue and stuff like that, like hanging out with Shaq just because like the size comparison was hilarious. But he was definitely a pop culture staple, since he made those movies. He's always stayed relevant, just being Vern Troyer.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Sometimes you just gotta take that and own it. You know,
Yeah.
He got mistaken.
He made a lot of money doing it too. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
he lived
he
a pretty great life, and whatever might I understand, he was the pretty stand-up guy, really generous, really nice.
I hear he had vices though, man.
Hey man, he doesn't matter what size you are. You get that much money, you get any sort of notoriety, that's gonna follow you, bro.
What I want to know is one of the most famous ones was sex addiction. How does that dude? Just get so much that it becomes an addiction.
It's crazy, right? What money? I don't know. I'm trying to stay away from that a little bit.
I hear he kept the stable. Like he was married, but he still kept the stable women on the side, and not
what
just
are you gonna
married.
Say? Yeah.
Vern Troyer pulled a Playboy playmate.
Yeah,
that was his wife, and still that wasn't good enough. How do you get to that level?
Imagine that you're that insatiable, that thirst is so strong that you can't.
He likes climbing mountains that much.
He's a man of large taste, if not large stature.
Large ambitions.
He was really taking that many down. Wow, that's wild.
You know what? I'm sorry. You are absolutely correct. I did not mean any disrespect. I actually did enjoy his body of work. I remember him on Shasta McNasty, just playing a goofier version of himself.
Uh-huh.
You know, so he's someone who he knows like what he was pigeonholed in, and even though he tried to break out of it and couldn't, he enrolls in Harry Potter.
Yep. Well,
it's like
anybody of that's little like that has obviously a bunch of medical things. I remember this is going back even to the 90s again, is Kid Rock had Josie.
Yes.
You remember? And he was taking, I guess, dozens upon dozens of pills a day to maintain his health and stuff, and it's just not, making it to a certain age isn't really more realistic.
It's physical, but also it's some of them suffer from depression.
Yeah.
Some of them they just can't take what they input when they get to that celebrity level. And that's a new dude. Drugs are available to you constantly. Booze is available to you constantly. You're out partying, and it's sometimes hard to know your limits, and especially when you may have more than the average person, it may hit you harder. I think that's what he eventually come to.
Sure, maybe, yeah. It's wild. Yeah, it's weird. It's a name that I didn't think I would read.
Vern Troyer?
Yeah, passing away. I was like, why would Vern Troyer pass away? That's awful.
Wait, why would it?
Yeah, I can't. Why would he die? That's stupid.
How does that happen? Don't you just what?
It's like when Bill Paxton died. I'm like, why would Bill Paxton die? That's stupid.
It is one of the most random things, man. I think it's just a sign of the times where it's like you don't expect life to go on until you stop thinking about somebody, and then boom, it hits you in the face.
Yeah. No, it's wild.
He was 49 years old.
49, man.
49 years old. Vern Troyer passed away 49 years old. Dude, I remember him in Harry Potter. You will always be not Warwick Davis to us. All right, so Vern Troyer, rest in peace.
Warwick Davis still going though.
Warwick Davis still going. Yeah, he's doing a new web show.
Yeah. I watched an interview with him and Val Kilmer about Willow a little while ago, and it was hilarious.
What more is there to say in 2018 about Willow?
Well, because they released the 25th anniversary edition of the DVD.
Thing.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, the undiscovered.
They're not just hanging out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
By the way,
right?
I think Val Kilmer's real sick. Not to get any further off topic, but I think he's not doing too well. Don't talk about it, man.
I'm sorry,
hero,
dude.
bro.
It's just I watched Top Gun and I look at this is Svelte SOB. That's you?
Yeah, but he's sick. Yeah, I don't like it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a bummer, man. Now I feel bad.
Yeah,
now
you need to.
All right, next week we'll be reporting. No, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. Not gonna do it.
Stop.
All right, Johnny, you were awfully quiet over there, man.
Yeah, what's up?
Nothing. I'm just trying to get you involved. We're on the radio. I'm just trying to get you involved in the conversation.
Sickness sucks.
Thank you for that.
He hated The Spy Who Shagged Me.
Introspective. To be fair,
the movie was garbage.
Actually, no, that was the good one. Goldmember was the one that
yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
When Beyonce can't save your movie. Actually, no.
This is before she was B and she had the Beehive.
Yeah,
she was just a chick that was in a
she's
group
a force
that she kicked
now.
out.
I wouldn't dare say anything about her now.
This is back when she used to kick everybody out the group. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
say my name. How can I say your name when you kick the bitches out the group?
You didn't get along with her daddy. You didn't get along with her.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we won't go there for she has a shot.
Seriously.
All right, but no, I'm gonna kick it over to you, my friend, because you actually got to see a pretty serious picture.
Yeah.
You were never really here.
You were never really here. Yeah. This is.
But you're here now.
I mean, I am.
Were you ever really here?
It's time will tell.
All right,
this movie I'm really was really excited to see. It debuted at Cannes last year, and it won Best Actor and Best Screenplay. Lynn Ramsey wrote and directed this sucker. She did a Ratcatcher, which is an excellent movie, and she did We Need to Talk About Kevin, about a mother having raised a school shooter and like her life after that. And so this kind of takes on the similar dark kind of twisted psyche movie and really cranks it up. And this stars Joaquin Phoenix as Joe, and Joe is a contract killer. More specifically, he is hired by well-to-do people to rescue their children. Sometimes they get kidnapped for whatever reason, and he is hired then to go in and return the girl and then dole out the deaths of whoever was captured.
Wait, pause real quick. Is this based on a true story?
I don't think so. No,
Okay.
I hope not. It's the best way I can describe this movie. It's like watching a nervous breakdown happen. It's not like not like one of those movies where you have the contract killer like this immortal guy that can just run through people. It's very realistic in terms of like what type of people could be a contract killer, and it's like really. We keep seeing these flashes of like his past trauma, whether or not, and it comes at 3 different stages. You see him as a child, and it just like literally it just flashes like little brief like 2 to 3 second little flashes of like serious trauma, like him as a child being like suffocated with a piece of plastic and watching his mother get hit or something like that. And then another one is him as a soldier watching some kid getting shot. Then another one at him like a job after he returns home, like watching all these dead bodies. So he has been traumatized.
Lives through all that and says,
Right.
You know what? I want to do that for a living.
So what type of outlet do you have after that? You're probably a messed up guy, so you turn to
You're not going to macrame.
right. Yeah, you're not going to go work at a Staples or something. You're not going to be hanging out at Home Depot.
Excuse me, sir. Can you tell me where the toner is? I'll tell you about the toner. First, let me tell you about what toner means to me.
Yeah, no. So
Right,
this
you
movie
don't know
is
the world before Xerox. I know.
This movie is heavy duty like that. So we start out with seeing him. He is finishing up a job. He's literally walking through an alley after leaving a building. He's wiping off blood from a hammer. And then all of a sudden you see some guy try to hit him over the head. He hits him over the head. He just turns around and he just bashes this guy face in, and then he walks away.
Okay.
And then as soon as he gets back, he goes into the guy that handles his money. He gets his money and he leaves. And then he gets an update that he needs to go and talk to the guy who basically hires him out. And he goes into this meeting and he's saying this state senator wants to talk to him. So he goes to talk to the state senator, and his daughter has been kidnapped, and all he has to go by is this address. And what he's familiar with these addresses is sometimes they take young girls and they put them in these places where they're going to be pimped out to have sex with these upper class disgusting people. So
like Taken,
kind of, yeah. So they hire this guy, and he rents a car, he goes and scopes it out, and then he goes in and saves this girl. And and that's not really giving much away, but while he's there doing that, things start to spiral out of control, and this giant conspiracy kind of opens up, and he is not yet able to figure out like who's pulling whose strings, how high this thing goes. Obviously, he knows it's dealing with a senator. It must go higher than that, and it does. And that's some of the mystery of the movie. Is
so
like,
please
it's kind
tell
of,
me this ends up being like Equalizer, where he starts off to save one girl, and then when the group of gangsters holding her won't let her go, he kills all of them. But then when he kills all of them, their overbosses send the entire mafia after him, so he kills all of them.
No.
When the entire mafia in the city dies, then the rest of the country mafia comes after him.
No, it's not that
He kills all
contrived
of them.
like that. It's not like this, this Hollywood kind of like, oh,
You
we
say
got to send all the
contrived,
goons,
I
because
say awesome.
it's more realistic in the sense that this is a guy who's not going to take out 16 guys at once. This is a guy that can handle a room full of people, and he's going to do it in the most brutal way possible. Like I said, his means of killing and dispatching these people is with a hammer, literally walking up and smashing their faces and skulls into the hammer. To which sometimes you see, no, this is not like Denzel. All of a sudden you're like, oh, you're 50, you've been out of the game for 10 years, you can just kill a room full of people in 16 seconds. No, it's
Well,
this is
fair,
like
he
takes
was
the
an
brutality.
He was an autistic assassin.
Sure, but this is not that movie. Was what I'm saying. This is
it's not like the Three Stooges all in one man.
This
with
is
like
a
real world
raw,
consequences.
a raw film about really a traumatized and fractured psyche of a man,
Okay,
really just trying to get through the day without having these awful flashbacks. And of
That's
course,
the thing, though. You've said that a couple of times. How deep into like his own psychosis does it go?
well, that's good because it doesn't go too deep. You just see and you know that this is a fractured guy and he's haunted by these things, but it doesn't go back and explain it. Because I think if it did and go back like, this is what happened to him, let me explain why he's like this, I think that would have been reductive of the film. I thought it'd been like trying to over-explain it. All you need to know is that this guy has lived through this stuff, and it just gives you flashes, like I said, just enough to know that this guy is really not all there. And at the same time, he's killing these people in this really brutal way, and it might be an honorable thing to doing to save these girls.
Mhm.
You can take that away, but at the same time, like, this is a
Murdering.
guy who's really taking the most brutal approach possible.
Hey,
And
man,
at the end of the day,
it's a
he
dirty
goes home
job.
to his mom too.
But someone, wait,
He
what?
lives with his mother. Like, he goes home and he's like taking care of his mom, and then
This is like the worst case, the best worst case scenario of comic book guy. It's just like
Yeah.
he leave mother. I'm going to work now.
But it's not like
Excuse
that.
me.
It's not. It doesn't
and
play
then,
like it doesn't
slaughters-
play him up as like a dopey whatever. It's just a guy like living and taking care of his mom, and then he goes and handles his business. It's not like, oh, I have like a mom. It doesn't have a complex. You know what I mean? It's not like that. He's
I would
just like a
describe-
normal guy. He's trying to live a normal life, and he's just lived through some stuff, and now he's he gets hired out and he brutally murders people. And like I said,
So
it gets
starring
caught up
Joaquin-
in this web of conspiracy, and the conspiracy gets bigger, and he's trying to figure it out, also keep himself sane. And it's really a fascinating watch. It's a fascinating character study.
up for tons of awards.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Like I said, it won best actor and best screenplay at the Cannes Film Festival last year.
Oh, it did win.
Yeah, it did. One of the most prestigious film festivals in the world. Yeah, stars Joaquin Phoenix, directed by, and written by Lynn Ramsey, who's fantastic. Like I said, go check out her other movies, especially Ratcatcher. But yeah, I can't recommend this movie highly enough. It's great. It's playing at Coolidge right now, and I would definitely check it out.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Black Adam Willis. The movie is called You Were Never Really Here, told by a man who actually is really here. Wait,
Believe it or
Adam,
not.
where'd you go? Where'd you go?
Yes.
All right, no thanks, man. Starring Joaquin Phoenix. Okay,
Who's a monster right now? That guy's killing it.
dude, he's got a lot to make up for with that crappy movie with the
Stop,
rapper
we're on
and the
opposite
stupid
ends
beard and stuff. All right, I'll never forgive him for killing Maximus. That's all I'm gonna say.
True. Yeah.
All right, so now I got to check out a movie that Adam, I know you are going to love. It is just a brilliant masterpiece, a masterwork, if you will, called Truth or Dare. Excuse me. Sorry. Here's the part I think you'll dig. Blumhouse's Truth or Dare.
Yeah, that sounds like
that's right.
that brings a little the pedigree up a little bit when you call it Blumhouse.
Come on, man, Blumhouse. You know what they do, how they do.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
It's
so gonna
it's
be
one
the
step away from
height.
Madia's Truth or Dare, which is I would rather watch that. I think
Robert Rodriguez's Tic Tac Toe. Oh no,
Battleship
Blumhouse's
by
Truth or
Paul
Dare.
Verhoeven. Yeah.
This is a very interesting picture because it's actually an interesting premise, done in the absolute worst way possible. It's a game of truth or dare goes horribly awry when people start dying.
It
That's
sounds exactly like a movie you hear about for the 2 weeks that it's in theaters, and then you forget about as soon as like, oh yeah, that's on in the $5 bin at Walmart. Like,
yeah, no, that's pretty spot on. Yeah, that's just about what it is.
Right.
This movie is about as prestige as if you're watching a better movie and they're making fun of a slightly better movie by giving it a schlocky title.
Right.
And then when
That's
they
it.
describe that schlocky title, that's Truth or Dare.
Mm.
Okay, a bunch of teens go to Mexico on spring break, and a guy they meet in the bar takes him to a
God, how many
church
bad
out
movies
in the-
started that way?
out in the mountains. Oh, we're not done. Out in the mountains to play, of all things, Truth or Dare. It turns out this game, initiating this game of Truth or Dare, enters them into a previously existing game of Truth or Dare being run or being
It's like bad
I
Jumanji.
close,
Yeah.
because at the crux of this game is a demon trickster who locks everybody into this game of Truth or Dare that has lethal consequences. And if they don't tell the absolute truth or don't perform the dare, they die. And
Gotcha.
it's just it's just the most mind-numbing,
Better you than me.
hour
All I
and a
gotta say
half
about watching it.
ridiculous. I won't even say a thrill ride. Brain suck.
It's like
that's-
Jumanji meets Saw. Or
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That should be on the
kinda-
poster.
Think. Okay, like I said, the base of this is a game of Truth or Dare played by a bunch of kids off on spring break. Now, you'd think that'd be pretty straightforward. They play the game, they tell the truth, they do a dare, and then it runs through, it cycles through, and then it's over. But as you watch this picture, and I don't think it's a spoiler to say that it involves a creature from hell that's been invoked into this game. Now, the actual way that it plays, the actual way that this demon came into contact with these kids is stupid. And I'm trying really hard not to be biased because I'd like to give a proper professional journalistic review of this, but there's just not that much material there. It's a story of some kids who do nothing but fight amongst themselves throughout this entire picture. And all of it is just done without any real world perspective on, okay, I'm your friend. I say some stuff that properly offends you, your family, and then you know what? We're not friends anymore. These folks have just these ridiculous fights, like heinous stuff. And the next scene, I don't like you, but yeah, we're chilling again. Like, where the hell did that come from? Okay, fine. If you want to suspend your disbelief that much and just follow along with the rest of the movie, I just kind of want to see some cool, deaths and consequences and these weird situations that these kids get put into by this game of truth or dare. It's like, no. It just sets it up as you hate these people and then they're not interesting.
Sounds like you hate them so much that you'd rather them to be dead.
Most of them, yes.
Oh, well.
And the thing is, where they set it up that they can be redeemable characters, you want to see whether or not they live through this, so you get invested. They don't. And what sucks is there's one character in here who you actually like. It's this kid. The Asian kid who's got a very traditional father who he's having trouble coming out to because he's gay. But his father is very traditional, very conservative, and will not support him. And the one time where it's like he's dared to do something. This is in the trailer, and they don't show what happened in the trailer. But when you watch the picture, the actual movie, they also don't show you what happens in the movie. And it's a scene where the demon makes him come out, and it's like, okay, fine, what happens here? Because now finally, and it happened about an hour in, now we're getting something interesting, cool, because now it's gonna get real because his father's a cop.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh man, now this is gonna have some real world stuff. And the lead girl, Ophelia, you'd think that they would at least be able to build a solid story around her. But no, everything that happens to this group is just a convenient way to get them to the next thrill kill, which would be okay if this was along the lines of like a Final Destination type picture. Because at the very least, the story's lacking, the premise is shoddy. But you think it could at least play out, because some movies with really bad premises have the opportunity to like redeem themselves in
just
the way
by being schlocky, and you know what I mean.
Yeah,
like
you
a
know,
lot of horror movies are like that. You're like, okay, this is not a great movie, but like it's fun.
Yeah, if the performance is great, they can get through it. But the kids are mediocre at best, which is unfortunate because you'd think at the very least it's gonna redeem itself with some awesome kills, man. I'm gonna see some people impale. I'm gonna see bodies flying.
I mean, that's Final Destination in a nutshell. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
it is.
it's like this movie's not good, but man, these people are dying.
Yeah.
In very
At the very
More
least,
like
horror movie
Jason
way.
X.
Mm.
Yes, get as stupid as possible, but still do like a great job with some horror stuff and like cement itself in the accolades of in the annals of those movies that just take it to the nth degree, but they don't. Unfortunately, I was expecting like some Saw stuff because they set up a lot of similar premises similar to Saw, which is just kind of a damn shame because you got the one dude who actually brought him there. This cat, he's kind of a smooth dude in the bar. He says this, he says that, and he's really enticing a homegirl there.
How do you get people, by the way, to leave wherever they are to go play Truth or Dare?
Well, you got to find someone who's very thirsty, and you got to just you got to show up swinging.
I got you.
That's what this dude did, man. He found this one girl who sees, okay, my friends are getting it over there, I'm getting nothing, and some dude just comes to her rescue when some douchebag who she knows and has had a history of like trying to fend off unsuccessfully gets up in her face. This dude like stalked her. Not stalked like viciously stalked, but he's like the one dude who can't just take no for an answer.
Gotcha.
And he's not taking no all the way to Mexico. That's how deep it goes. And then this other cat steps up at the right time and is like, hey dude, she's not interested, back off or else we about to, throw hands. And then she just gets a good look at his face and sploosh. So now she's inviting her friends to follow this dude across Mexico to some abandoned church way out in the middle of nowhere to play, of all things, Truth or Dare.
Yeah, that
That's
sounds
how
like
they
a
get
good idea
involved
no
in
matter
stuff.
what.
And then the kills are weak. The premises are pointless, and the kids are so unlikable. You want to see them die. And then when they do, it's fleeting. It's just it's just kind of one of those haphazard slipshod things where it's like you think it can be saved on so many levels. The story premise is weak, fine. How's the acting? The acting is lame, fine. How are the kills? The kills are pathetic. They're killing me here. Work with me, truth or dare.
Work with me, truth.
I so badly, dude, man. If it went the route of Hostler, because there's body mutilation, that would be cool. That would be redeeming. It doesn't do that. If it
That's
went
sad
the
when
route,
it's like the only redeeming thing you could possibly pull out is some body mutilation. It doesn't even deliver on that.
yeah, dude. There's like one
Damn.
scene where the kid. This is one of the ones in the trailer that they kind of gloss over, but it could have been the cool scene in the movie where the kid, like I mentioned, there's the one kid whose father is a cop. The dare comes up, grab your father's gun, and make him beg for his life. Just like, damn, okay, now it just got real. How's he gonna get out of this one? Well, the kid grabs the gun and holds it on his pops. He's like, okay, Dad, just do me a favor. Just say this. Trust me, please. Say this, and I'll explain later. I swear. Just say this one thing. What did I do, son? No, just say this, Dad, please, and we'll get over this. I'll explain later. I promise. Son, is it me? Just say this, Dad, please, please. Is it because you're gay? No, Dad, you gotta listen to me. Just Dad. No, you gotta say this. But. And then you just bow. Just. It's ridiculous. I can't. It hurts me to go see movies this bad because I've seen good bad movies, fun bad movies. I was so ready to walk in and say, okay, this looks dumb as hell because everyone's got that cheesy grin on. But you know what? This also looks like a movie that's gonna like slaughter these children with like, you know. And it doesn't, man. It leaves you feeling flat and flaccid. I gave this a hard thumbs down, and I'm like, dude, it's Blumhouse. You can do better because Blumhouse is like. It's like Troma with a college degree. You know, Blumhouse is like, you know what I'm there to see. Give me what I'm there to see, man. Don't hold out. Just give me a taste. just a taste of the good stuff. So it's truth or dare.
Stay away from it.
Yeah. Just. There's so many turns where it could have gotten better and it didn't. I'm damned saddened and ashamed to have sat through this entire garbage, especially when it got to the ending. I won't give it away. I will say, though, that it sets up a premise early on in the movie that's just a hypothetical, and you're like, wow, that's the stupidest question you could ever have. And then they enact that at the end of the movie. Like, that becomes the big twist of this piece of garbage. So I apologize if anyone was really jazzed to see this. It's just save your money. Gotcha. I promise you, you'll have forgotten about it by the morning.
Yeah, get a pizza instead.
Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of pizzas, I don't know what I'm going with that. I'm going to turn it over to just Johnny because you got to check out Shadow Tactics: Blade of the Shogun.
Blades of the Shogun. There's more than one blade.
Oh snap, man! We got blades all over them.
Except it's instead of blades, it's really one guy has some blades and another guy has some shuriken. And there's this old man. He has a rifle kind of thing.
Well, two of those are bladed at least. That technically counts.
Yeah, all right.
We got a technicality of blades.
So this is a isometric sort of, not top down. As I said, isometric. So it's kind of like that angled view, very pulled back away from the battlefield, where you are controlling multiple characters through these pretty much like Metal Gear Solid 2 style levels where you have to.
On one screen.
It doesn't happen on one screen because the view is much more pulled back, and you have control over the camera as well as control over the unit itself. So you can sort of look ahead in the level, and you can see the enemy placements up ahead, and other things, but essentially you are trying to find a way to navigate through a particular level in order to achieve certain objectives tied to that mission, all the while trying to avoid detection and take out enemies along the way so that it makes getting through the further parts of the level that much easier because there's less enemies to accidentally alert and then consequently have to deal with.
When you alert them, do you get like that cool sound like you did in Metal Gear? Or do you get a cool sound?
You get a cool sound, yes.
Okay.
Not the same,
right.
But certainly cool.
Copyright infringement, yo.
It's very flavored in Japanese, Shogun, sort of mystique
You
and
mean
and
Shogun
stuff.
isn't the South African word?
Nope,
No.
nope.
Oh,
Sorry to say, it is very
Shogun
much
assassin.
Japanese. There are samurai here and ninja.
all right. Next, you're gonna tell me bullfighting doesn't come from Britain.
Hate to break it to you, P,
I say, dear boy, ole.
but
So, as I said, is primarily like the best way to describe it is a tactical stealth game. And unlike other stealth games, the bad ones where if you navigate through a level and then you get detected, uh, crap, you have to restart everything from the beginning again because it's impossible to sort of unalert the enemies. In this
They don't
one,
have
you
any
can.
cooldown time. I remember. What was it? I think it was. I think. Don't quote me on this, but I think it was Narc, where it's like you go through the entire level, but the second anyone saw you, it's like, yeah, and then the screen just like faded to black, and immediately
Yeah.
started you over.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything like that. So you can, although the enemies once you alert them, they are really smart, and they're smart from the get go, and the game definitely makes
So when you sneak
sure
up on
that
them,
you
they're like
understand the
playing chess.
mechanics.
moving
Yeah,
pieces
yeah,
around.
they'll
They should be on
patrol
guard, but
around.
instead they're just doing like really complex equations on chalkboards.
Well, what they'll do is they'll patrol around, but they won't patrol around as just one enemy. They'll actually patrol around as a group of enemies, and they'll also have a guard station. But instead of having one guard station, and you can see sort of like their view cone as they're turning around, they'll have two guards that are covering multiple angles of the same environment. So you really have to think about how you're going to engage them and take them out without being detected whatsoever. And because of that, you end up, yes, there is, you end up restarting more often than you'd like, but because of the difficulty that comes with what you have to do. It's not so much that you are restarting because the moment you get detected, you have to restart. It's if you get detected, you can run away, you can hide in a bush, or try to lose the enemies in the various means that you have available to you, like hide in a house or something like that. You can do those things and wait long enough, and then the enemies will reset. They think they lost you or you went away, and then you can try again.
What shot me?
Yeah.
Oh, must have been the wind.
Yeah, but
Oh, okay, so tell me about the gameplay then, because I'm hearing a lot about I can hide in the bush and stuff, but how are you actually doing all this stuff?
yeah.
You
So
played it on Steam. Right?
I played it on PS4.
PS4. Oh,
PS4,
all right.
and I will say this: you do not want to play this with a controller. You do not want to play this on a console. And it comes down to just the controls. This game was definitely designed with PC first in mind. Not to say that they didn't do anything at all to accommodate for a console gameplay. Because you can look at the PC screenshots and look at console screenshots. They're very different. They changed up the UI. They changed up the controls and things like that.
It's necessary though, because on PC it would be like different blocks for you to choose versus on console you may have to pause to like swap out your weapons or change your loadouts basically.
Well, all right. So here's where the problems sort of come in on this game is that there's no turn-based sort of elements to this tactics game.
Well,
Everything that you're going to do,
stealth game.
well, everything that you do happens in real time, and there's most tactics games, even like Fallout, not Fallout Tactics, but like Fallout, the first-person shooter, has VATS, right, where you can sort of pause the action and then think about how you're going to engage, right? A lot of the RPGs, especially the PC-style RPGs, have that element to it,
Well,
where you
Fallout is
can.
an RPG, though.
What's that?
Fallout is an RPG.
Yeah. Fallout, Divinity,
RPG,
etc. Right. You can pause the action, think about what you're going to do, and then say, okay, go. This one has a kind of like a pause mechanic, but it doesn't actually pause anything. It allows you to set up your characters, your team, and have them queue up in action. And then when you're ready, you hit a button, and all of your allies, your team members that you've queued up for actions, they sort of initiate those things at the same time. So you can kind of
it's like
set
Spectrum Warrior or something.
Yeah, it gets really in depth and really nuanced and in a good way of setting that up. But the problem is that you have to do that every single engagement. Otherwise, you're going to get caught because you don't have the ability to react as fast. And not having the ability to react as fast, it kind of comes down to console controls versus PC controls. PC, you can click a spot, and the character will move to the spot. What you get,
Console, your host.
well, in console, it's the character's movement is based on the left thumbstick. So if as you're moving the thumbstick, you're moving the character. So you're in direct control of the character. And that's where the problem is.
Yeah, because what if you're eating pizza or something? You know, your fingers all greasy, you're sitting there, it's slipping and sliding and all this stuff. It's a damn shame.
Yeah.
What I want to know is because it sounds like you had more of a time sneaking and then struggling and restarting than you did actual fun playing this game. Is it a thumbs up, thumbs down? Is it worth the time? Because, dude, I thought, talking to you beforehand, that you would be excited. Everything I'm getting is that you hated this.
I didn't hate it, but it's
okay. So Johnny loved it. Thank you for that. That's
well, all right. So I'm not recommending this for console at all. The controls are absolute. It's hard to get controls for a game of this complexity to work well on console. And
you want to play Fallout, man. It's okay to admit.
And it just doesn't work. The view is you have to control the camera, you have to control the character at the same time, and there's no pausing of the action. So everything you're doing, you have to sort of time it and work in tandem with one another, or go the option of going overly crazy on the shadow mode or whatever it's called, where you can queue up the actions and time that correctly.
Is that like your same example? Is that like VATS where you enter shadow mode and you select each of your target?
It's like VATS.
Okay, because you said that, and I assumed it was kind of like what was it? Batman Arkham Asylum, where you have like the bat vision, where it's like that just gives you insight into where everyone is, and you can play.
Well, you always have access to that information. So
you're always Batman.
Yeah, well, you can.
That's all you had to say, man.
You can play.
I'm always Batman, Adam. He is.
You always have the Batman vision. You can place like markers throughout the level to sort of allow you to see what the enemy sees and know whether an enemy is going to be able to spot a certain area, as well as enemies that are coming in from very far away. You can kind of see their patrol lines if you set things up correctly. Those things aren't problems. The problem is that when you're in this VATS-like mode, the enemies don't stop. Everything happens. They continue moving. So I'm going to give this a thumbs down when it comes to console. When it comes to PC, it's still like there's problems with the camera, controlling the camera. It just doesn't work well. You don't have as exact control over it as you need. But because there's decoupling of moving the characters, it certainly handles significantly better on PC. But and I would recommend it for PC, but I primarily played this on PS4, and I cannot recommend this game. It's just too frustrating, way too hard for right off the get-go. And I play a lot of these styles of games. I'm not bad at these games. It's just this game was way too hard right from the very start, forcing you to use the only mechanic that actually makes it playable, which is that queuing up of actions, that shadow mode.
Admit, man, the kids these days just have it too easy.
Yeah.
Back when you had one life to go through an entire game, you couldn't get hit once, and it would take like 7 hours to beat in one sitting, and you can't save your progress. Just had to sit there. What if you had to go to church or something? You pause the game and hope the TV doesn't burn out. That's what you did. All right, that's what we grew up with. But now, the game is too hard. Don't buy it because it's challenging.
It's legitimately too hard.
I'm messing with it.
It took over 3 hours to beat the first level.
Over 3 hours.
Yeah, with lots of restarts. The game is available on PS4, Xbox One, Windows, Linux, Macintosh.
And don't get it on any of those.
You can get it on the PCs on Linux, Windows, Macintosh. It'll most likely play significantly better and easier on those.
All right.
And it's also $40. That's the other bit too.
Boo, money.
$40 on Shadow Tactics.
If you enjoy this type of game, you'll definitely get your money's worth. But otherwise,
that's the thing. I do enjoy this type of game, but you've soured me on it so deeply.
Yeah, it's. I was looking forward to this game, and it was kind of a disappointment to realize how difficult it was and how badly it controlled with with a controller.
All right, we're batting 1 for 3, but dude,
Hey man,
I'm
I
gonna
like myself.
I'm gonna turn that around because the next. No, I'm not.
No,
It's
you're not.
Super Troopers 2. I got
The
to check
deuce.
it out. And as a big fan of the original Super Troopers and of Broken Lizard's picture, most of Broken Lizard's pictures.
I like that. They're funny, man.
They're funny,
they're a
but
funny
they've got
group.
some
The,
stinkers, dude. Did you ever see
Beer Fest was great.
Beer Fest was hilarious. Slammin' Salmon was weak.
Oh man, I didn't see that
and
one.
Club Dread.
Club
is
Dread was
annoying ass
eh.
dude with the Club Dread was
with a good Bill Paxton though. Perfectly good Bill Paxton role.
Bill Paxton. Everybody gets one. I will say though, Super Troopers, however, I still think they're grand opus, and I still laugh every time that movie comes on TV. It's one of those ones where I have to watch, or if I'm heading out, I set the DVR because I know I'm going to want to watch it later.
You know, it seems like sometimes with like directors or maybe like comedy troupes, they got that first picture, they put like all their juices really into that one thing.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And then like every subsequent movie after or project after is kind of just a little bit lesser than what, I'm not saying they exactly suffer from that because like I said, Beer Fest is good, but a lot of people do. Like they throw all their hard work, all the elbow grease into that first picture.
Yeah. They kind of have to.
And then, after that, it's like, okay, we don't have any juice left,
Yeah, they had to learn from the mistakes.
But Super Troopers is that movie, man.
Super Troopers is definitely
it's a cult classic for sure.
Mm-hmm. We're talking about Super Troopers 2, the new picture out by, actually the new crowdfunded picture out by the dudes from Broken Lizard. Broken Lizard is the comedy troupe / writing troupe of the dudes who brought us such hits as Beer Fest, which was awesome.
Yes.
Club Dread, which the only claim to fame I can make there, as you mentioned, Bill Paxton, is also starring the woman who played Brandy in Joe Dirt.
Joe Dirt, yep.
Yes. So not really winners, but from a very funny troupe of dudes who love what they do.
They just have great chemistry. They're all, they make their characters like
individually they're all really funny as well.
I heard a thing about Broken Lizard. They were going for their own meeting in front of Comedy Central about having their own show, and I think they lost to the State guys.
Oh, really?
So it was like they went out.
Well, those cats didn't go anywhere. Oh wait. Now the State was a funny show. I liked the subsequent project came after those, which is kind of ironic because we're talking about Broken Lizard, who I liked their first project, and not many of the ones that came after. But I do acknowledge that Jay Chandrasekhar,
who's had a pretty respectable career as a director after this.
He has. He directed all of their works, and co-wrote most of them.
Yep.
This is one of his. Kevin Heffernan is the other primary writer. Or as Officer Farva.
Officer Farva.
Know him.
Or what's the name of Beer Fest?
Beer Fest?
Is
dang it, him and his twin brother, and I can't remember either of the names right now, which is really getting me. We'll come back to that. But the premise of Super Troopers is, if anyone's familiar with the original movie, they were Vermont highway patrolmen who were in danger of having their station shut down due to cutbacks in the local government. Weeding all the local police, all the police organizations, the highway patrol of different counties, down to one policing organization. So it's kind of a feel-good story of these cops who love their jobs and they're friends with each other and they want to continue being cops,
messing with people as much as possible because anybody knows about highway patrol in Vermont. This is before the opioid epidemic, by the way. It's kind of a boring gig. I mean, not a lot going on.
You have first person. Adam is from Vermont, so
right.
you would have the
just
most
traveling those roads.
Into...
It's very it's very narrow. It's only like 2 lanes. It's basically it's not a lot going on. You know what I mean? Not a lot to patrol. There's not a lot happening.
Wait, so when you find
some of those northern towns in Vermont, there's really not a lot of traffic and not a lot of issues. You know what I mean? So messing with people is probably the only way to keep sane. So that's kind of what's funny about it. You know,
tax dollars at work, ladies and gentlemen.
Exactly.
All right, but in Super Troopers,
not at work because they're shutting it down, I guess. So.
Well, in that picture, what happened is they eventually did get shut down, but through the course of events in the movie, they end up becoming the local police, so they do have jobs that continue. Now, Super Troopers 2 actually does address why they are once again highway patrol and not local police. And the way they do it is kind of shoddy, I'm sad to say, because all the ideas are here. This is a movie that should be really cool, really funny. because the previous picture was really cool, really funny. But that's also the problem, because if you haven't seen the first Super Troopers, you go into this one completely lost. You have no idea who these guys are. You have no idea why you should care. And a lot of the beats that are funny in this picture, and I do acknowledge I got a lot of laughs, are because I was so attached to the original picture. And it hits a lot of the same notes, note for note, including
of those-
the pullover and messing with the I don't know what you call them, people that have been pulled over, but messing with them by the games, Farva's antics. The reason that they are no longer local cops is also told in a very similar way to the underlying backstory of why Farva was not on the highway in the first movie. A lot of it hits the exact same points, and they do slight variations on the gags, but it's the same gags, man.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Say, I don't think movies that have like a particular cult following that like come back for like one more movie. You know what I mean? Even if they're crowdfunded and basically saying that people want this, it doesn't really have a good track record of like really kind of connecting with the audience after so many years. It's not a lot of movies that do that well.
I think this one did. The problem is people didn't realize that they didn't want exactly the same story again until they got exactly the same story again. Because, dude, you told me they're making another Super Troopers. I'm like, I love the first Super Troopers. I'd love to see it again. You know, I'm going to give these guys all the money. I donated. But I'm like, I didn't realize that they would do the same movie. There are variations. Like, it's obviously not the local cops they're fighting. It's the Mounties. But it's police organization versus police organization. And what the premise here is, an area of Canada has been rezoned so that now it's an expanded part of Vermont, meaning that the local cops there, the Mounties, are no longer the designated law enforcement. So the highway patrol are now taking over this territory.
Are there really Mounties?
Mounties are a thing. They're not the only police.
I think that Brendan Fraser movie.
Wait, Dudley Do-Right?
Yeah.
That was
Mountie?
Well, Dudley. He was a Mountie, but Dudley Do-Right was that's different. That's
I know. I'm just thinking.
That's a character. If anything, they should have made a movie of Super Chicken. Right now, there was like one person who's like over the age of 45 who knows exactly what I'm talking about. They're laughing their ass off. I promise you. Everyone else in this room is dead silent.
You gotta explain the joke. It's not a good joke, though.
I have no clue what you're talking about.
That's what I'm saying. This young pup. Are you even 20 years old yet? Look at this guy, fresh faced out of nowhere.
On 2 packs a day.
All right, we're getting a little off the point of Super Troopers 2. I will say I'm a little bummed out because there's a lot of funny stuff here, but it's outshined by all the stuff that is very similar to the first movie that you cannot avoid. And they try to inject new gags as well, which I think is the one saving grace of this, which is a bummer, man, because I was so hoping. It's a crowdfunded movie. They hit the goal and they made a deal with the studio that if they could get crowdfunded, and the studio would pay for the promotion and advertising and such, which they did. And they did a lot of cool stuff. They were here in Boston for PAX. Yeah. These dudes were at a place downtown handing out donuts, serving breakfast to people. Taking pictures and signing autographs and stuff, just at a local location. This wasn't like they got a booth and you had to pay like exorbitant amounts of money to meet them in a line that goes all around the convention center. No, they were at a regular establishment.
Yeah,
you could line up outside and get food from them.
This movie overperformed too. You know what I mean?
It overperformed.
The movie made some money. You know what I mean? It's definitely people want to see this. Yeah,
people paid for it twice.
And it came out on 420.
And then it came out.
Let's be honest. It was perfect.
Oh,
it really was. You know what I mean?
It was. You know what? That would be the proper way to see this, because I got to give it a thumbs down, and I'm really hurt that I do, because I love the first Super Troopers so much. I was really hoping this would have done really well.
Yeah, I saw
and
this
it has
coming,
overperformed. It's doing well. It may even do well enough for them to do a Super Troopers 3, but I'll say quality-wise, honestly, they just don't have everything I was looking for.
Sounds like they put all their efforts into trying to get it made, and then they're like, okay, we can make this. Now it's like, okay, now we got to write jokes again.
I think so.
You know what I mean? Let's just do the same thing. Yeah, it's interesting that you say that they kind of rehash the same thing. It's like if they really wanted this, I thought they would have had some like new, fresh ideas for something. That's really why they wanted to push it.
Well, they
like,
go all out to try to make
it
it's more of a they know what they're working with material-wise, so I think they try to inject more spectacle. There's cameos in here where people pop in, they're there for like a minute, and they pop back out. You know, Rob Lowe is in this picture.
Dude, Rob Lowe can pop up in anything. I'm all right with it.
You like Rob Lowe?
I'm like, and then for him to pop up and stuff, I don't want him to lead my
Benjamin
movie.
from Wayne's World does it for you.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not gonna hate on
Mind
Rob
pulling
Lowe.
over, sir?
No, Rob Lowe was soda.
Cavity search time.
Rob Lowe was soda pop, man. He and the soda pop at the Outsiders.
Soda pop Curtis, bro.
Yeah, so he's earned my respect there. I will say that it's at least worth going to see if you are that hardcore Super Troopers fan. But as a general picture in itself, I mean, dude, they're doing horrible French accents. You know, the games are funny, the jokes are funny, but then a lot of them go on too long. So it's like I'm laughing like, yo, this is great comedy, man. Yes. And then
You know what?
2 minutes after it's worn out its welcome, it's just like, dude, they're still going with this.
Well, I remember after
so it's
Beer
just-
Fest,
it shoots itself in the foot.
after Beer Fest, they teased the movies like coming soon, Weed Fest. I was like, why don't you just do that
Yeah.
on 420? You know what I
Really
mean?
awesome.
Like they kind of already said this. Like that would be.
I feel like it's a thing. I feel like it's a thing that they probably started writing and just didn't have, you know.
Yeah, just didn't like. Okay, maybe the idea was better than the actual execution.
Yeah.
Which is, it's probably that speaks to this movie too. The idea of a Super Troopers 2 is probably better than the actual thing. So that sounds like where you're coming from. I'm kind of bummed too. So
It happens. Man.
yeah, it
But
happens.
let's close out with Lost in Space, Netflix's new opus, my friend. I was a big fan of the TV show, like I said. You were a huge fan of Matt LeBlanc in the old 1990s movie.
I was a big Joey from Friends guy, and then this movie came out, and I was like, yeah, maybe you should just stick to TV. Sitcoms are your thing.
Well, Johnny, are you familiar with Lost in Space?
Just from the movie.
Just from the movie? Oh, I'm sorry, man. Because believe it or not, Lost in Space was a fun family Star Trek style show where you have, not Star Trek specifically, but in that same vein, around that same time of, around that same era of television.
Yeah, it was like the bubblegum version of Star Trek.
Maybe.
was like the family thing, and-
Think more along the lines of somewhere between Star Trek and Leave It to Beaver.
Right. But this new one, getting more to the point, like this, and I could only get through the first 5 episodes. It stripped anything fun away from whatever the first show was, maybe even the movie was, and it just robbed anything. This is the most self-serious, like joyless, like fake peril, really like family horrible drama that I've ever I'm like, this is supposed to be a fun family like kind of show with
struggle for the terms because you are right on all points.
There's nothing enjoyable about this, like just struggle after struggle after struggle, mixed with like deep brooding look, mixed with some father hatred, mixed with some family angst, mixed with a marital issue. And this is just layered on top of layer of that. And then they're like, where's the fun? This is like Lost in Space. You're supposed to at least mix in some hijinks, you know what I mean? Some humor.
Yeah, that's the
None
thing
to
I
be
noticed.
found. And that's when I gave up.
I call that Gilligan's Island syndrome because the premise of Lost in Space is there's a family who's taking part in the first Earth expedition to colonize a planet, an Alpha Centauri. So they're planning a deep space mission, which is a cool idea. And it's families, it's scientists, it's like mechanics, it's everyone. They're building a society that's moving out there. It's not just like a couple of people. That in itself should be amazing. And it's a cool idea that it's executed poorly in this. And it's not that the writing is bad. It's not that the acting is bad. It's not that it's
By the way,
a combination of all of them.
I think the actress who plays the mother, she was Alma Garrett from Deadwood, and I hated her in Deadwood, and I hate her in this show too. And she gives that sarcastic side-eye glance where she knows more than you do. I hate that so much. So I will say, like, I can't stand her. It's not why I dislike the show. I dislike the show for a lot of other reasons, like the ones I just named. But that's my.
No, I
my 2
hear
cents
you.
on the
It's the problem with Lost in Space is they set up a lot of interesting premises every episode, but then every episode is also rife with infighting between this family that's just so damn dysfunctional.
It's like, we know your father wasn't there. We get it.
Yeah, but it takes away
over
from all the cool sci-fi stuff that they're actually doing because they're terraforming a planet. That's interesting. They're dealing with elements where they land in water that's immediately freezing because the environment on this planet is so different from anything they faced on Earth. That's interesting. How are they getting around that? Well, we got to deal with about 25 minutes of just like catty comments back and forth, and a wife who's kind of stuck with her ex-husband. So everything that she says to him is just like to undercut his position with the kids.
Oh, you weren't around. Sorry, I was saving my country.
Well, the thing is, it's distracting from this story at hand, which they actually have a lot of cool stuff that they do, and it for damn sure has the budget. It's a Netflix show, and the special effects, I will say, are amazing in this. But everything between there is just the most obnoxious and annoying tropes of a sci-fi film or movie or film or TV show where you know they can't accomplish their goals because they have to maintain a certain status.
Yeah, they really beat that to death. That
Yeah,
begrudging.
like I mentioned,
family
Gilligan's Island
stuff,
syndrome,
yeah.
because the premise of Gilligan's Island is they always had to be stuck on the island. So they'd find like a viable way off. We have a boat. We were saved by a helicopter, something, and they would find
Coconut
some
radio,
way, as hokey as possible to retcon that. Unfortunately, that's what Netflix's Lost in Space is guilty of, which is kind of a bummer because it's an interesting story that's just kind of hampered by a lot of tropes meant to kind of carry this on to a longer run than I think it's meant to be. If this had been just 2 episodes and to tell the whole story that they did, because watching the whole thing, they could have gotten it out and been really interesting in one solid 2-hour movie. But they drag it out into an 8-hour show that pretty much resets itself over and over again, and in the end shoots itself in the foot. I liked what they did, or initially what they tried to do with the robot, and then they ended up failing. And dude, I have to give this a thumbs down.
Yeah.
As someone who was such a hardcore fan, it pained me to do so. Even if I went into this fresh, it's a reality show with with gadgets and robots.
I agree. Yeah,
That actually sounds more interesting than this would have been. It's next was Lost in Space. You can actually check it out now if you want to do it yourself, but I give it a thumbs
Subpar,
down.
which is Netflix's par now, because
Damn.
they're not really doing that great.
It's sad but true. And
Their
painful,
original
my
programming
friends.
sucks.
All right. This has been the Geek Down here on WEMF Radio. I want to thank you all for joining us for an action-packed. Actually, no, this wasn't action-packed, man. We covered some bad stuff, and we had to tell the truth
I
about
like
it,
my movie,
which
man.
cuts deep. Yeah, dude, I'm sorry for another sad episode, but you know what? It is what it is. And at the very least, you can play Shadow Tactics.
Don't play it on console.
All right, don't play it on console. I want to remind you all, if you heard anything on this show you want to talk to us about, comment on, criticize, whatever, hit us up at geekdownradio@gmail.com. Also, check for us on YouTube, or you can also watch the show like you may have been doing tonight. We're also live streaming on Twitch. As always, we're on Facebook. You can find us there. Find us on Twitter, all over the mother, or just go to geek-down.com for all our uploads, and all the links to social medias on there too. We'll catch you all right here on WEMFradio.com on Monday nights, 9 p.m. We'll catch you next week, same bat time, same bat channel. But until then, gentlemen, be excellent to each other. Peace.
This up to the knocking down. It feels good to skip the line. It feels good to the wild. Spray the walls. It feels good to the wild.